Well, I've been back home for about a week now, having absolutely 100% completed my through hike of the Appalachian Trail, 2,197.4 miles. I'm not sure how many times in people's lives that they look forward to doing something and that something not only meets but surpasses all of their expectations. But hiking the Appalachian Trail did that for me. And now that I'm home, it's time for some thank yous. Some of these you've heard before, but they do bear repeating. The first and most important thank you goes to Kathy. Kathy was prepared for me to be gone several months last year. When Hurricane Helene hit, she knew that I would be going back on trail this year to finish up, and she was 100% behind me. And then when the mudslide hit and took out Standing Bear and messed up I-40 and Davenport Gap, and I had to jump over 47 miles, even after I got the Springer, she knew that I would do those 47 miles. And she's the one who encouraged me to finish them up. While I was gone last year and this year, she's the one who held the fort down at home. She sent me resupply boxes to make it easy for me on trail while holding down the fort at home. I could not have done this without her. So my success owes as much to her as to me walking over 2,000 miles. I could not have done it without her. Next comes Maggie. If you like these videos, thank Maggie. I took the photos and the video clips. She put them all together every week and made some kind of sense out of them. So if you like the videos, thank her. If you don't like them, blame the photographer and the videographer. That was me. So thank you, Maggie. My other children, Jamie and Liz, and my grandchildren, Declan and Samantha, James and Mary, had to do without their pop. That's what they call me, for quite a long time. And they often ask, where is Pop? Where is Pop? And explaining to them that Pop was camping in the woods somewhere isn't something that really registered on little children. So thank my grandchildren and children for understanding that this was something that Pop had to do. Beyond family, there are also some other thank yous that are deserved. When I started my hike, I was a solo hiker, but I knew that I would meet others along the way. Would I hike with them 1 day, 2 day, weeks, or what have you? I didn't know. But on the very first day, the first pair of hikers that I was lucky to hike with, Orange Slice and Unicorn, we stayed at the Ed Garvey shelter that very first night. Orange Slice was the first person to tell me that she believed that I was going to make it all the way. I was going to complete the trail. Took a little while, but she was right. For various reasons, I moved on. Orange Slice had to get off trail. Unicorn continued to hike, but I tended to hike a little faster than him, so I got ahead of him. Further up the trail, I met Waffles. Waffles and I only hiked together for a few days. He was not doing a through hike, he was doing a section hike, but he introduced me to the joys of slack packing. We not only enjoyed slack packing together, but we stayed at the same hostel. We had great conversation. In fact, we stayed together at more than one hostel. We had great conversation. As I said, he introduced me to the joys of slack packing. And as I continued along the trail, he followed me and, would make comments when I would post things on Facebook. So it was really a pleasure riding the gondola up and down Stratton Mountain in Vermont with Waffles. It was also in Vermont that I teamed up with the group that I would hike with the longest. Now, one of them, as you know, Radioactive, I met in 2022 when I was doing a section hike. But I started hiking with Radioactive and Wolfman in Vermont, and Gator joined us in New Hampshire. For anyone who has watched all the videos, you know that it's in New Hampshire and the White Mountains that the trail almost broke me. The White Mountains are definitely tough. And unfortunately, Radioactive, Wolfman, and Gator had to move on But while we hiked together, we had an amazing time. Just a group of people who, if we come from a very different backgrounds, all of us, but a love of hiking, the trail, just challenging yourself both physically and mentally, and then looking forward to the end of the day and sitting around and swapping stories. Just a wonderful, wonderful group. Now, though I did mention them a couple of videos ago, it bears repeating that my thanks to Wolfman and Poke Easy. When I got back on the trail this year, I really thought I was going to be hiking solo most of the way. But hiking with Wolfman and Poke Easy made finishing up the trail an even better experience than it would have been. I was a solo hiker, and it was Nobo season. The Nobo bubble was going in the other direction. Having someone to hike with, having someone to talk to, certainly made all the difference. Now, I've said to many people who don't really understand what the Appalachian Trail is all about, that the trail is more than just the trail. The trail itself is magnificent. It's going to challenge you in ways that you've never been challenged before. You are going to see some magnificent sights. But the trail is also about the people you meet along the way, whether it's your fellow hikers, trail angels, hostel owners, shuttle drivers, townspeople, you name it. Up and down the trail, people in the towns, shuttle drivers, hitching a ride. People who live along the trail expect to see hikers. And a lot of people, if you stick out your thumb, they'll say, where do you need to go? It's just a wonderful thing. I do want to thank some other hikers, knowing full well that I'm going to miss some people, and I will probably think about them after I've already completed this video. But these are some of the people that I hiked with. Maybe it was only for a day or so. Walkie Talkie, Happy Hour, Vireo, Lady Slipper, Pyro, Hip. Thank you for the beer, Hip. That was very appreciated. Coach. Actually, there were two coaches, Shepherd and his son, who I saw not only on the northern part of the hike, but when I flipped back to the south, I saw him again and his son. Trail Horse and Lemonade, their husband and wife. Quick on the draw, and you've heard me mention him before. In particular, really helped me out in the whites when I was at a low point. There were several trail angels who made the trail a lot more enjoyable, but three stand out, including Trail Angel Steve, Fresh Grounds, who truly is legendary, and Sir Stops-A-Lot. Throughout my hike, I stayed at a number of different hostels. Hostels give hikers the opportunity to rest, recover from the trail. Some hostels have a full resupply. Some hostels will shuttle you to a supermarket for your resupply or into town where there's an outfitter. Some hostels will accept a box sent from home, which Kathy did that for me several times. I stayed at many nice hostels, but to me, these deserve special recognition. Quite a few of them. The 0-day stay in Penmar Park, Maryland, the very first hostel I stayed at, and Orange Slice and Unicorn, and I all stayed there. Jenny and Alan's Cabin in Falls Village, Connecticut. The Wicked Way Station in Vermont, Green Mountain House, and the Inn at Long Trail, also in Vermont. The Inn at Long Trail, Radioactive, Wolfman, and I stayed there. We had a wonderful time. Hikers Welcome, the Notch, and the Barn Hostels, all of them in New Hampshire. At Hikers Welcome, Gator had joined us by then, so it was Radioactive, Wolfman, Gator, and myself. Camp 43, and the Hostel of Maine, and Shaw's Hiker Hostel, and the AT Hostel and Outfitters, all of them in Maine. There were two Stanimals. One is no longer open. That is the one in Waynesboro, but I stayed both at the one in Waynesboro and the one in Glasgow, Virginia. Also in Virginia, we have Angel's Rest and Weary Feet. Julie and her husband no longer own Weary Feet, but they're the ones who really, really helped me out after the hurricane last year. So I understand the new owners are doing just as good a job, but Julie really deserves a shout out. The Mary Inn and the Broken Fiddle, also in Virginia, and Boots Off Hostel in Tennessee. The station in 19E, which is where Wolfman rejoined me this year for a couple of days, Uncle Johnny's, and the Appalachian Trailer in Hot Springs. All of them were wonderful. Now, they weren't the only ones I stayed at, but those were ones that I would go back in an instant. Now, trail towns play an important role in the success of a thru hiker. It's usually where you do your resupply, whether picking up a resupply box that has been mailed to you, which Kathy, as I said, did for me several times, or going to the local outfitter or the supermarket there. Now, personally, I like the trail towns that are right on the trail. The trail goes through them. There's a lot of trail towns that are wonderful that are 5, 10, even 20 miles off trail, and you get shuttled to them, and that's fine. But the towns that the trail goes through, it makes it very, very convenient to do all the things you need to do when you go into town, either just passing through or taking a Nero or a Zero. So once again, there's a lot of other towns, but these are the ones that I in particular really liked. Hot Springs, that is North Carolina. Damascus, Virginia. Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania. Hanover, New Hampshire. An incredibly expensive town, but a pretty neat town nonetheless. Duncannon, Pennsylvania. Dalton, Massachusetts. The trail goes right through these towns, and it's just really cool walking through them. People in these towns are used to seeing hikers. Random strangers will stop you and ask you how you're doing. They'll ask you if you need a ride. Can they help you in some way? It's just truly amazing. We could not do what we do without the trail towns supporting the efforts of hikers. Finally, I want to thank you. Most of the people watching these videos are family and friends, but some random people, probably because of the algorithm that YouTube uses, have stumbled upon this channel. Thank you for watching. If you got anything out of it, if you enjoyed the scenery, if you think you might hike the Appalachian Trail someday and you were watching this to get an idea of what it's like, if you just are finding a way to, spend a half hour or so because you had nothing better to do, that's okay too. If you got anything out of these videos, thank you for watching. On my very, very first night on trail at the Ed Garvey shelter, Orange Slice asked me what I expected to get out of the hike. I told her that, with the exception of anything relating to my family or my career, I expected this hike to be both the hardest and most fulfilling thing that I've ever done. That definitely proved to be the case. It was an amazing journey. Thank you for letting me share it with you.